Good morning, everyone. This morning we have chosen a kind of political subject, bit psychological, bit social, bit philosophical. The name of the title is Election or Selection. It struck to me by observing the messy scenario of American election. What happened in America cannot happen anywhere in the communist countries, cannot happen anywhere in the world. America is considered to be the champion of democracy, and democracy has become lackluster in America. We can say dysfunctional, non functional, misfunctional. Election in America is the example, epitome for the world. Every nation of the world take a leaf from the book of America, and you can understand what is going on. You must be watching it, you must be reading it, that there is a big mess, and that this is not the end. What we see today is not the end. God forbid, worst is yet to come. What Trump is going to do and the Trump supporters are going to do before 20th of January or on 20th of January is a big question, and we all have to keep our fingers crossed. Something terrible has been envisioned, terrible has been decided by the Trump team. Now, who needs that kind of democracy or that kind of election? If election does not breathe in life, but breathe out life, sniff in life, but sniff out life of the nation. American society, American economy, American people, everyone is at odds with everyone. Everyone is kind of enemy of each other. Now, that is the fruition of election. But if you look at the other side of the world, like look at the China, look at the Russia, Cuba, North Korea, North Vietnam, all the Arab nations, where election is not conducted at all. Over there, you can see peace and prosperity, stability, all kinds of tranquility, all kinds of fraternity, brotherhood, and every single thing is hunky-dory. But wherever the elections are conducted, you can see the same scenario, whether it is India, Pakistan, America, or other European countries. So I have chosen this subject today, whether selection or election. And I have actually tilted towards selection. I have chosen it should be selection. If election doesn't work, then it should be selection. And I'm not only the one. When we elaborate this topic, you're going to find out that there are lots of other people also there, big legends on my side, or I'm on their side, whichever way you look at it. So I have created 5 points. The point number 1 is selection. As election has become lackluster and acrimonious. People don't have any kind of allurement. People don't have any kind of faith in election. Election has become lackluster. It has lost the charm. It has lost all the charisma. And it has become acrimonious. If one party wins, the second party creates acrimony, quarrels, fights, all kinds of hee-haw, all kinds of disturbances, all kinds of riots. And if that party wins, the other party resorts to the same kind of acrimony, like we see in America. E.g., example, Gracia in America I have written in bracket. Point number 2 is selection, as people have no faith in election. Some time ago, RT conducted the poll, Gallup poll, people's poll in America, and 57% whopping 57% Americans tilted towards socialist system of Russia and China. 57% of the people say that democracy does not work, democracy is exploited, in democracy people are manipulated, elections are rigged, elections are stolen, charges and counter charges, allegation and counter allegations, corruption and counter corruption, every single thing is possible only in democratic political system where elections are conducted. Point number 3 is selection. As elections can be worst system. I'm not saying the election can be worst system. Churchill has said that democracy is the worst political system because everybody talks and nobody listens. Quote unquote. Everybody talks, nobody listens. Churchill has said. English Prime Minister of 1945 has said. So I agree with him 100%, unflinchingly, that in election all kinds of irregularities can be played out, all kinds of corruption can take place, all kinds of conspiracy theory can be applied, anything can happen in election. But when there is a selection, nothing is there. Everybody knows, whole world knows, that after the King Salman is gone, his son Muhammad will be on the throne. There will be no any kind of if, no any kind of but, no any kind of where, no any kind of when. Every single thing is hunky-dory, every single thing is decided before the time comes, beforehand. Point number 4, selection. As election can be manipulated and exploited by politicians. There is no election in the world, though we don't know, but I know. I know instinctively that there is no election in the world where politicians don't try to exploit it in their favor. It happens everywhere in the world, including India. But most of the time, we don't know it. And even if we know, we don't actually trust it. Newspapers, magazines, they most of the time report this kind of irregularities. But people don't listen to it, and there are no proof, there are no evidence, so that is why everything is hush-hush. Nobody raises heckle about it at all. But it is done so professionally. Irregularities, corruption, exploitation, manipulation is done so professionally, so faithfully, that nobody knows anything about it. And even if those people who know, they don't open their mouth due to fear of retribution by the party members. But it does happen. As we know in America, Trump has been charging the election was stolen. Now, we really don't know. We're the spectator. We really don't know whether Trump is right or Ben is right. I mean, Biden is right. We really don't know. But Biden and Trump, they only know. Biden has won, so Biden knows the best. Whether what he has done, what kind of conspiracy theory, great game theory was used, what he has done, what his people have done, only they know. So they are not going to open their mouths to the authority that, yes, we were guilty. No guilty is ever going to say that I am guilty. But Trump knows, so we cannot actually rule out Trump 100%. Maybe, just maybe, some truth may be there. That is why Trump has been screaming and shouting about irregularities, stealing the election, rigging the election, voting fraud. Something must be there. If there is no fire, there is no smoke. And if there is no smoke, then there is no fire. Point number 5, selection. As election was despised even by the father of democracy, Socrates, Aristotle, Plato. This gang of 3, the best philosopher of the world ever came on this planet, they have also ruled out that election should not be there. In election, People are exploited. Those people who don't understand even a inkling of democracy or the tenet of democracy are going to vote, and they are always going to make absolutely faulty decision, erroneous decision they are going to make. So people who elect the leader, they have no any kind of knowledge of political science. They are absolutely Greek. They are absolutely ignorant about politics, and these people decide. So we cannot decide if patient cannot decide what kind of medicine he wants. It's a doctor who decides. So now these patients, the people who go in the vote and they elect the leader, they are patients. They don't know what kind of remedy or what kind of malady, what kind of virus or what kind of affliction they suffer from, and what kind of treatment or what kind of remedy they should prescribe. They don't know this. Precisely the same argument Socrates, Aristotle, Plato made, that the people who are going to elect their leader, they are going to make absolutely worst blunder in their life. And they are definitely going to choose or elect absolutely incredible, absolutely wrong type of person who is not credible at all. And that has been happening everywhere. Most of the time, wrong leaders are elected by the voters. So I would say in this kind of scenario and in this kind of juncture, at present time, selection, I think, is better than election, because democracy should actually sniff in life into the nation or into the fabric of the society. But in the current era, contemporary time, democracy sniffs out life from the fabric of the society. People don't have any kind of inkling, any kind of wherewithal about democracy. So they go to the voting booth and they vote the wrong people, and if their leader is not elected, then they resort to all kinds of riots and looting and plundering. That is not democracy, and if that is the definition of democracy, then we don't need democracy. Democracy should not destroy us. Democracy should construct the nation, must not destruct the nation. And everywhere right now, democracy has been destructing. Look what is happening in India, farmers and in government and all that. That is democracy. That is why the farmers can actually resort to that kind of scenario, that kind of demand and that kind of strike and that kind of behavior. It happens only in democracy. Look, in Russia it doesn't happen. China doesn't happen. North Korea doesn't happen. But it will happen only in democratic nation or democracies. So in this 21st century, it has been proven that democracy does not work. And that is why 57% of even Americans, who are the champion of democracy, who safeguard democracy all over the world, they are saying that democracy doesn't work, and we would not mind to switch democracy for socialist political system. That's all the time we have. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to talk about something else tomorrow. Until then, God bless everyone on this planet. Amen.